The FA Cup finalists Liverpool against the Football League Cup winners Tottenham Hotspur in a First Division game at Anfield. They meet for the 4th time this season, having had 2 tremendous FA Cup ties and a great league game down at White Hart Lane, which we also screened. So if you've seen any of those matches, you'll know that we could be in for something really worthwhile here this afternoon. The Liverpool side shows pretty well a full-strength lineup, although Peter Thompson and John McLaughlin are playing in the reserves. That doesn't mean a great deal, it's just a matter of keeping everybody match fit. Similarly, Callaghan's place at substitute is not too significant. There's an opportunity to give Ian Ross a game in the number 7 shirt. He had a couple of matches in November against Everton and Arsenal, but otherwise he's been chiefly a substitute. The Tottenham side is also virtually their normal lineup, but there's one predictable change. Pearce goes to substitute, and John Pratt, who has played very little this season, comes in at number 11, presumably remembering the fine game that he had against Liverpool up here in the Cup. And 2 men who could have a big influence on this game. Number 9, Martin Chivers, 33 goals he scored this season, and the man will mark him, Larry Lloyd, against whom Chivers has not scored in 3 games this season. And it's Chivers who kicks off. Mr. Martin Fussy from Retford is our referee. Spurs in their normal white shirts, kicking from right to left. Liverpool will be anxious to recover from a rather shaky week, having been beaten at Chelsea on Monday in a league game, and rather more importantly, beaten here in the Fairs Cup by Leeds on Wednesday night. 10 is Toshak, Steve Highway taking over. Alan Evans is right through the middle. Alan Mullery, the Spurs skipper, wearing 4. And that was Perriman's interception. Chivers back to Mullery, and Lindsay's big boot. Highway again. Chivers setting Pratt away. Martin Peters. The first touch of the ball now for Pat Jennings. Peters. Martin Chivers. Gilzine offside on the side. I think he was explaining to Peters that Peters shouldn't have played the pass. Now that injured player is Joe Kinnear, who was limping, I noticed, 2 or 3 minutes ago. I didn't actually see him get hurt, but he's been feeling an ankle a bit. Steve Highway, who was rested against Chelsea on Monday, and it looks very much as though Joe Kinnear is going to have to come off. There's Bill Nicholson on the touchline in the Macintosh, and here comes the Spurs substitute, Jimmy Pearce. Game only 13 minutes old, and that's Pratt going to the touchline, but he won't go off. It's Joe Kinnear who's being carried off. But clearly that knock that he took was something fairly serious. And there's Jimmy Pearce, who's played fairly regularly this season in the number 11 shirt. Somewhere Spurs have got to find an extra player for the back 4 now. Evans. It looks as though Pratt may have gone into the back 4. Throw in. Evans. Beale, one of the best tight markers in the game. Knowles. Larry Lloyd. Beautifully judged pass. Evans wanting it to drop onto his instep, and Beale stepped in first. No score after a quarter of an hour between Liverpool and Spurs at Anfield. Here's Lloyd coming forward and bringing down Chivers right under the referee's nose. Gilzine, and Lloyd coming back to intercept, but Gilzine gets it again. Pratt. Alan Mullery. Lindsay doesn't quite make the trap, but turns quickly. Chivers coming a long way to meet that one. Hughes to Lawler and on to Hall. Toshak running across the edge of the penalty area, but Collins with him and giving away a corner. Peter Collins. Collins going back to Mark Toshak, the two tall men. A lot of leaning there, but it was pretty much 50-50. Good header by Collins, but Hughes pursuing it into the penalty area, Mullery clearing. And now Pearce. Nobody really to clear to. Toshak. Mullery with the throw. Evans keeping it in play, giving it to Hughes, and a good header away again by Collins. Really has filled Mike England's boots very successfully. Evans. Toshak. Hughes. Pushed on by Hall and off the line by Knowles. Really looked as though Hall had got one there. He flicked it past Pat Jennings. And Knowles, although off balance, cleared off the line. And Hughes is limping away. Lawler. Steve Perryman to Peters. Gilzine. Back again for Peters. Lovely flick for Perryman. And Peters going on and onside. Good hook back, but nobody there for Spurs. Lindsay could have killed that. Complaining that he didn't know that there was no one behind him. Sort of situation in which a player can be helped by a call. Tommy Smith. Again, and Knowles above Highway. Pratt. Tommy Smith once more. It's Toshak out there. Highway coming to meet him. Ball bobbled a little. But he's got it back to Toshak. Toshak no real power. Evans to try again. For Highway. Good shot, good shot, and a good save. Steve Highway, a good shot there. Midway through the half, and that's as near as anyone's come to scoring. Highway to Hall. Toshak. Collins wrestling him off the ball. Suggesting that Peters is too close, but he gets the crossover and it eludes everybody. Toshak and Lloyd both bearing in. Lloyd complaining that he was being obstructed. Because Evans was there and played it too wide. Evans is going to take the corner instead of Brian Hall. No, he's left it for Hall after all. Jennings with Larry Lloyd coming to stand in front of him. Won't be much of a view with Lloyd there. And it's looking for Lloyd's head, and it's found it! Larry Lloyd, just wide. Player who doesn't really score goals, hasn't got one for Liverpool, but he came very close to it then. Chivers to Peters, Gilzine going through the middle, but Peters hasn't got the ball anymore. Tommy Smith a little too clever, but the ball out of play and safe enough. Knowles. Hall and Lawler. And still Hall. Gets it away to Evans. Beale pursued Evans for 30 yards to make that tackle. Pearce, and a good pass from Pearce to Perryman. Like handball, but very much on the blind side of the referee. Chivers. Perryman. Pearce. Knowles wanting it on the left. Perryman, Gilzine, and Peters coming round on the blind side and just bouncing it off the crossbar. That's when Martin Chivers is at his most dangerous, stealing up on the blind side for a header like that. Collins header away to Pearce. Perryman. Ross stabbing it forward, and Perryman a good interception, pushing it on for Peters. Knowles has gone ahead of Peters on his left. Peters is looking through the middle. Perryman. Now up to Knowles, but Smith has intercepted and given it to Evans, and Smith has gone on Evans' right. Smith. Toshak in the middle, and the linesman's flag was up because Smith was offside when he received the pass from Evans, or when the pass was played, which is the point. So it's a free kick to Liverpool as we go into injury time in this first half. Free kick to Tottenham as we go into injury time. Toshak not 10 yards off the ball, and Mr. Fussy steaming in and taking the ball out to where the incident occurred. Toshak was the man who was in the right. Toshak waiting for it to bounce, and that allows Collins to get in. Knowles. Lloyd. Smith losing it to Peters. And the whistle for half-time. We've had a minute of injury time. and we go in with no score, but a first half not entirely devoid of incident, when we've had a shot cleared off the line from Hall, and a shot by Steve Highway saved at full stretch by Pat Jennings, and a Martin Peters header bounced off the top of Ray Clement's crossbar. So plenty of incident, but at half-time, this scoreline: Liverpool 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0. So away we go in the second half, with the score sheet still blank. The matches between these teams this season have not been notable for goals. 3 previous matches, only 2 goals. One by Peters at White Hart Lane in October, and one by Steve Highway, also at White Hart Lane, in the Cup replay in March. A 0-0 draw up here in the Cup. There is Steve Highway. There's Pat Jennings. Peters. Lloyd. Hit Evans on the back. Knowles. The second half now 10 minutes old, and neither side really in the mood somehow. It's been an untidy, scrappy half. John Toshak to Lawler, all outside him on his right. A lot of confidence in his ability to beat the man, justified confidence there. Hughes, Highway, planting it for Toshak's head. Toshak couldn't get up, but his arm came into contact with Collins' face. Headed away this time by Peters. Now Highway really hit that. It was blocked by Mullery. Evans. Lawler! Good save by Jennings, a brilliant save. Chris Lawler, right on the spot, hit the ball first time on the half volley, and Jennings a magnificent reflex save that stuck. Together, Hall gets it through to Toshak, Highway out on the left. He's beaten Mullery, Pearce going across to challenge him, he's beaten Pearce, and a good cross for Toshak, and a good catch by Jennings. Toshak's header, but all the work done by Steve Highway. Pratt to Knowles. Peters to Pratt again, and Gilzean is offside. It's the 4th time in this half that Gilzean has been caught offside, and I think he may have made a remark about it. He certainly flapped an arm. The linesman who gave the decision at the occasion. Fussy has had his say. Clements restarts the game. Hughes to Toshak, to Highway, and Mullery's tackle. Lindsay. Good ball from Lindsay to Hughes. Hughes header, Hall going in, but Pratt gets it away. Lindsay trying to put it back in again. It's a corner. Terreman and Hughes both angry because the referee didn't spot a scrap that they had, but I think maybe it's as well for both of them that he didn't. Liverpool's 7th corner. Punched away by Jennings only as far as Hughes. Chance for Spurs to break. Pearce holds off the challenge, gives it to Gilzean. 3 against 1. Back again to Pearce. He's wasted an awful lot of time over it, and Ross blocks it. Spurs should have scored. 3 against 1 situations don't often arise in modern football. Liverpool had all the big men up the other end for the corner and were caught by the breakaway, and Spurs were too slow to take advantage. Hughes trying to tempt Gilzean in, and then misses his kick for the clearance. Pearce. Good idea by Pearce, tried to hit it on the half volley, one of those balls that swerves away just inside the far post, swerved a little too much. Collins to Pearce. Out of play by Hughes, so it's again a Spurs throw. Casual run by Peters, gives it to Ross. Pearce's throw back to Jennings. Knowles. Pratt. Lawler for Liverpool. Puts it through to Hughes. And Hughes to Highway, and Highway will go with room to gallop. Toshak. Wasn't what he meant at all. Lawler to Hall. Ross to Hall. Knowles tackle. Given away again. Just 15 minutes to go now. Lindsay. Highway. Foul on Highway, free kick to Liverpool. Highway to Lindsay. Lindsay's hit it well. Just struck it wide. There's some elaborate byplay going on before that free kick of Smith sending Highway away and then dummying to take the kick himself. Highway rolled it to Lindsay. Gilzean's header giving Pearce a chance. Got Lloyd to beat. Pulls it back to Mullery. Pearce again. Got the crossover. He's got another chance. And Smith puts it back to Clements. Evans. For that good trap, and this is now Hughes to Lawler. Lindsay. Crowd wanting a corner, feeling that it went off Pratt, but I think it just skidded on the turf with a little bit of spin on it. Mullery across to Knowles. header by Lloyd, and Hughes has it. To Hall. Smith, Lindsay, Evans, up to Highway. Across for Toshak to chase, but Collins again secure. Mallory, Chivers, Lloyd coming through Chivers. Hughes. Smith. Evans playing it on, 1 against 1, Mallory against Highway, and Mallory taking the ball out away from the penalty area, hits it too hard. Highway with the throw, less than a minute to go, Evans wanting it. Back to Lindsay, to Highway, to Lindsay again. Lawler coming in, dropping for Hughes, and a good save. Hughes didn't hit that quite as he meant. He hit it into the ground, and it was coming to Jennings on the bunch, which is always a difficult one for a goalkeeper because he loses the natural trajectory of the ball. Did well to get to that and turn it over. And the corner destined not to be taken. By my watch, we're still 10 seconds short of 45 minutes, but Mr. Fussy decides that it's enough, and I fancy there'll be some here who will agree with him. The second half, not the most exciting of halves, and a point apiece for these two teams who began the game flying 5th and 6th in the First Division. A handshake from Tommy Smith for Mr. Fussy. The players leave the field. The scoreline, Liverpool 0, Spurs 0. Well, that's the 4th time in the last 5 visits that Tottenham have made to Anfield that the game has ended in a draw, and the 3rd time it's been goalless. Anyway, a point for Liverpool. In a few moments we shall be showing you the highlights of a game at Selhurst Park between Crystal Palace and Manchester United, which certainly didn't disappoint anybody who wanted to see goals. So join us again in a few minutes. But what about my auntie in Brighton?
At this afternoon's match. A draw has this afternoon been made by Mr. Chris James of the Liverpool Echo, and those who were issued with a voucher ending in a 1 are repeat. Serial number ending in a 1 only may apply for the £1 per parcel.
Welcome back, and now for highlights of our second game, and what a game it turns out to be. The pictures come from London Weekend Television. The commentator is Brian Moore. The opponents, Crystal Palace and Manchester United.
Allowing it to roll into touch for United's throw, done with it. David Sadler. To Alex Stepney, who of course began his league career a few miles away at Millwall. Now Gowling, this long, rangy player, with McCormick, another long, rangy player, and the ball, in fact, going behind, but the free kick given to Crystal Palace. A little bit of pushing there by Alan Gowling on McCormick. Of course, Alan Gowling, of course, is in our final 6 of the Golden Goals and scored a magnificent goal at Chelsea to get into that final 6. And now it's Birchinall streaking away, and a goal! Supreme opportunism again there by Alan Birchinall. Tremendous acceleration, putting him clear of that United defence and giving Stepney no chance as he came out. So it's Stepney with no chance, and Birchinall with his 13th goal of the season to put Palace ahead with only 4 minutes gone. Now Best. Craren with the kick to Fitzpatrick. And now Best. With a shot across that Palace goal, that wasn't so far off. Snaking little run again by George Best. Payne, Scott turning it off nicely, and Wharton just failing to keep it in. McFerrin. Kemba. McFerrin doing his utmost to hold him off, and he's quite a handful, Steve Kemba. Payne with the throw. And Dunn getting in before Wharton, but now Kemba again, stopped by Morgan. McCormick. And Scott beaten so easily by Craren. Bobby Charlton to Law. Not the best of passes by Law, and it goes to Tony Taylor. Sadler, oh, losing it to Tambling. And number 2, Bobby Tambling. A mistake by Sadler, giving Stepney no chance, and Tambling makes it 2-0. It was Sadler's mistake, and Tambling pounced on it. Stepney got a hand to it, but couldn't hold it. 2-0 to Crystal Palace. And it was Bobby Tambling, in fact, who scored the only goal of the game by which Crystal Palace won a league game up at Old Trafford earlier this season. So Sadler has a lot to repay now. Down goes McCormick. A clumsy challenge no more from Gowling. So Palace, who got this recently won reputation of starting really well with a fine first half, couldn't wish for better than this. 2 up against Manchester United with 24 minutes gone. Birchinall standing too close to Sadler's free kick. And the referee saying, well, that was an offence by Birchinall, so come forward 10 yards. Gowling leaping for it, but beaten by McCormick. Willie Morgan turning it back again. Payne get underneath that one, straight to George Best. To Charlton, trying a 1-2, pushed off that ball on the edge of the area once more by Payne. And I would think that Payne may have been just a fraction lucky there. So it's United's free kick, and it's going to be Charlton and Best standing over this ball. There's the Crystal Palace wall. Best number 7. Fitzpatrick's gone on the far side. Gowling's up there too. Law as well. Even Edwards up there. Craren coming in. And they've got to be 10 yards off this ball. Best flicking it sideways for Sadler to bust it through. And my goodness, that was good work by Jackson. He really did burst that one through. Low and hard. Tambling and Hoadley doing that one slip, and Law now for Gowling. Still Gowling, Law, and a goal! 2-1, Dennis Law. Law and Gowling delighted, and Law telling Gowling that it was his cool-headedness that set up that chance, unmistakably, for Dennis Law to come in there like a whiplash and finish it off. So Manchester United, with 3 minutes to go to half-time, get back into this game. And Alex Stepney with the goal kick for Manchester United. Kemba's jump to find Scott, a flick on and Birchinall to chase it, but Edwards there at the end of it. Wharton getting there above Bobby Charlton, pushing Charlton in the back. Sadler's kick. McCormick again getting above Gowling. Willie Morgan. Between two players, and the referee has stopped it, which may have been a pity for United because they were in possession with either Crerand or Gowling to go for it, but he gave the free kick and it's Bobby Charlton to take it. Law was saying he wants it in the air, so too does Gowling. And Law, in fact, with an overhead kick, and it's there! He didn't catch it properly, but it went in for all that. Completely deceiving John Jackson. Struck low by Charlton. Law tried the most extravagant of overhead kicks. He didn't catch it properly, but it went in all the same. And United are level. Birchinall with his head into it, done to hoof it away. Gowling and Hoadley, and now Best off in chase. Jackson doesn't know whether to come or stay. Still Best, still Best, still Best, and a goal kick. Manchester United doing exactly what Crystal Palace did so well in the first half, with some brilliant breaks from defence. Birchinall. Bobby Charlton to Pat Crerand. Law with Payne snapping at him all the time, but finding Crerand back with Law again. Bobby Charlton. Certainly wouldn't recognise United from the first 20 minutes of this game now, as Gowling tries to take it up. Wharton. A little bit of pushing and a bit of shoving there between Birchinall and Edwards. Now it's Payne. Birchinall. Rather too casually, and that was almost too casual by Pat Crerand. So Palace's throw, and Steve Kemba. Bobby Tambling. Ball played wide when nobody was there, so it's Fitzpatrick. And now Gowling to Willie Morgan. Oh, that was nicely stopped by Ward. Oh, and then he gives Morgan another chance. And recovers again with the linesman flagging for a foul by Ward. Wall certainly not happy with that decision, but the linesman on this side was flagging hard. And he was directly in line. Here's Morgan with the free kick. Law poised at the far side. Wharton, Sadler, and now Dunn. Another dangerous cross to test John Jackson, but he grabbed it well again, lost it and grabbed it again. Gowling must have been hunting him in the back. Wharton. And now Scott. Wharton again to Birchinall with Tambling on, sweeping on the outside of him now. Bobby Tambling again, but not enough power. Crerand. Arsenal quicker to react to that than Edwards. But Fitzpatrick also quick to react. Law, Charlton. And on the far side, Crerar. Look at that for a pass as well. What a superb pass by Charlton. Oh, not such a good one by Paddy Crerar, but in fact Bobby Charlton made something of it. Law lifting himself again. Gowling, Best, and there it is! George Best, 3-2, and Manchester United's comeback is complete. When it was nodded down, John Jackson had no chance because Best was ready to pounce on it and put United into the lead. Kemba, nodded on by Taylor, but Edwards is there and Stepney. McCraren. George Best. Law. Jerry Queen now getting that tracksuit off in that trainer's bench. And Bobby Tambling. Jim Scott. Yeah, with a lot of skill, Scott, but stopped there again by Sadler. And now Willie Morgan. Charlton. Well, a little lucky to get that rebound off David Payne. And then stopped by Kemba. Burton ought to go for it, but Sadler, Edwards and Stepney. Payne, McCormick, Kemba, Payne and Best once more bursting on that scene and played there nicely by Crerar for Best to hammer on, and Jackson, and it's there! Oh, a mistake by John Jackson, and Best has scored again. Jackson is absolutely disgusted with himself sitting in his goal. He makes so few mistakes in the course of a season, but that was a bad one, and United get their fourth goal. And Jerry Queen is on, the substitute for Crystal Palace. And it looks as though it might be Terry Wharton who's going off. United fans probably can't even believe it themselves. 2-0 down, and now 4-2 up. And now Hoadley, a long one forward. There's Queen going in for his first touch, but in fact it was Edwards who got ahead to it first. Jerry Queen, second top scorer here, with 10. And there's Queen again, trying to lay it off, but a little too far ahead of Bobby Tambling on the Tambling, and Palace at the moment quite dispirited. Gowling. And McCormick finding Kemba. A nice little flick there that finds Scott. On to Queen. With a good shot there by Queen, and it wouldn't rebound to a Palace player. Law. Finding Morgan. Good cross by Morgan, and Law very nearly got ahead to it. Crerar following it in. Good cross by Morgan, and Law very nearly got ahead to it. Crerar following.
through the legs of Morgan to Taylor. Stanley. Oh, and Clarence Beekman. Played there for Law. And number 5. Number 5 by Dennis Law. And that, of course, is Law's hat-trick. So a hat-trick by Law and 2 by George Best. And that goal made for him by Paxton. Best really bundled off that ball by Hoadley. Law to Best. Jerry Queen turning it off for Tammy. And now Kemba. Scott. Dunn could get to that one. He doesn't quite know whether to turn it back to Stepney or not because Kemba was right at him. And so he did the safest thing. Tambling. Queen. Oh, and that might still fall for Taylor, and it was hacked behind for a corner by Paul Edwards. And then like 8 minutes to go, and Manchester United leading by 5 goals to 2. Taylor with the corner. Wall flicking it in, and it's done by Queen. Jerry Queen, who's got the final touch. Taylor's corner, and it was nodded on. And Queen, who bent low, just to get the touch past Alex Devon. So 8 goals now in this game that has been full of so much good entertainment. Taylor with it. Not a very good one. And now Best. He's got Law up with him, and look at that for a pass. Almost played without looking. And Morgan, though, stopped in his tracks by Payne. Tony Dunn to Willie Morgan. Now George Best. Still Best, wonderful skills. Still he goes on. And then to everybody's surprise, finds Morgan on the touchline. And a corner. He's had half a minute of injury time. Time, of course, not added on for corners, only for penalties. And Willie Morgan to take this corner in the dying seconds for Manchester United, leading by 5 goals to 3. And Hoadley to get it away. Dunn. Edwards, and the final whistle on a wonderful game, and a tremendous credit to Manchester United. Dennis Law, the hat-trick man, and George Best it is, who scored 2. They are the men who really, there's Best, they are the men who really put Palace to the sword. But a really marvellous and magnificent performance by Manchester United to come back when it looked as though they were out of it. 5 goals from Law and Best, that really can't be bad at all. Those pictures came from London Weekend Television. The director was Bob Gardam and the commentator Brian Moore. Well, that's all we have for you today. We hope you'll join us again next Sunday afternoon at 3:45. Till then, goodbye.